They said Australia was paradise, the land of golden beaches, endless sunshine, and easy living. Online, I saw videos of people smiling on Bondi Beach, drinking iced coffee under palm trees, and saying things like, "Moving here was the best decision of my life." I believe them. Every word. After months of saving, skipping nights out, and filling out visa forms that seemed to never end, I finally booked a one-way ticket to Sydney. I remember staring out the plane window as we touched down, thinking I was about to start a brand new life, one filled with freedom, success, and peace. But that's the thing about dreams. They always look perfect from far away. The airport air felt different, warmer, softer. As I walked through the terminal, people around me looked happy, tan, confident, relaxed. I told myself, this is it. This is where I belong. But I didn't realize then that the hardest part wasn't getting here. It was staying. The regret doesn't show up right away. It creeps in slowly, through the quiet hours when you're alone in your apartment, staring at your phone, wondering why home suddenly feels so far away. It hits when the rent is due and you realize half your paycheck is gone in a blink. When you try to make friends but everyone already has their circle. When you smile at strangers and they barely look up. Australia sells you the dream, and it's a beautiful one. But no one talks about how heavy it feels once you're living inside it. The silence, the pressure, the cost of simply existing. Everyone back home thought I was living the dream, but in reality, I was living the raw footage. The exhaustion, the long shifts, the homesickness that never really fades. I used to think regret came from failure, but here I learned it comes from expectations, from believing that happiness has a postcode. At first, everything looked perfect. I had made it to Australia. I was working, paying rent, exploring beaches on weekends. My Instagram made it look like I was thriving, but behind those photos, I was barely holding it together. The first crack appeared when I started realizing how expensive everything was. Groceries that used to cost a few dollars back home now ate half my weekly budget. Rent? Don't even start. Every apartment viewing felt like an auction. 20 people showing up for the same tiny room, most offering more money just to be chosen. I remember standing in one living room, pretending to smile while doing mental math in my head, wondering how many hours I'd need to work just to afford it. And work? That was another story. No one tells you how hard it is to land a stable job when you're new here. Employers want local experience. It doesn't matter how good you were in your home country. Suddenly, your entire background feels like it doesn't count. So you take what you can get. Casual shifts, long hours, sometimes 2 jobs just to survive. You tell yourself it's temporary, but months go by and it still feels like survival mode. Then there's the loneliness. It sneaks up on you. You go from hearing laughter and chatter at home every day to coming back to silence. You scroll through photos of your family eating dinner without you. Your friends hanging out like nothing changed. You tell them you're okay, that you're loving it here. But the truth is, every night feels like you're living in someone else's dream, not your own. That's when I started to notice it. The quiet exhaustion that everyone wears here. People smile, but it's thin. They work, but their eyes look tired. The dream of Australia shines bright from the outside. But once you're in, you start to see the cracks. Small at first, but impossible to ignore once you do. They say Australia offers a better life, sunshine, safety, opportunity. But what no one really tells you is what that better life costs. And I don't mean money. It's the emotional toll that hits you hardest. The feeling of being an outsider, no matter how long you stay. You walk into a room and everyone seems kind, but distant. Conversations feel polite, not personal. You laugh along, but deep down you know you don't belong yet. You're part of the system, but not the community. Then there's time, the quiet thief of dreams. You spend so much of it just trying to survive that you forget to live. The job that was supposed to be temporary becomes permanent. The savings goal keeps moving further away. You stop exploring, stop calling home as much, stop recognizing the person in the mirror. Even relationships here feel different. People move fast, work long hours, chase goals. Friendships form quickly and fade even faster. You start to realize that a better life doesn't mean easier. It just means different battles. And those sunny Instagram photos, they hide the sacrifices. The birthdays you miss, the nights you spend calculating bills, the silent tears after another rejection email. But you can't tell anyone that, because they'll think you're ungrateful. They'll say, At least you're in Australia, and maybe they're right. Maybe that's the cost of chasing dreams. Learning that every paradise has its shadows, and every better life demands something in return. After a while, something changes. You stop comparing everything to the life you left behind. The silence doesn't feel empty anymore. It feels peaceful. The hard days don't break you, they shape you. You start to realize that maybe Australia never promised comfort. It promised possibility. You see it when you walk along the coast at sunset. That endless sky, that feeling that the world is wide open if you just keep going. You see it in the small wins. Your first stable paycheck, your first rental approval, the first friend who calls you mate without hesitation. It's not about the big dream anymore. It's about the quiet pride of knowing you built something, even if no one back home truly understands how hard it was. People stay because, somewhere along the struggle, Australia stops feeling like a place and starts feeling like proof. Proof that you survived. Proof that you adapted. Proof that you didn't give up when everything told you to. Yes, the rent is high. Yes, the loneliness lingers. But then the morning comes. The light cuts across the ocean, and for the first time you feel like you belong to something bigger than yourself. And maybe that's the secret no one talks about. You don't stay in Australia because it's easy. You stay because after all the storms, it finally feels like home. The truth is, moving to Australia can change you in ways you never expected. Not just in how you live, but in how you feel. You don't realize how heavy distance can be until it stretches across oceans. It's not just about missing your old home, it's about missing the feeling of belonging. You walk down quiet suburban streets surrounded by perfect lawns and bright skies, yet you feel like a stranger. You call home and pretend everything is fine, even when you're struggling. The time zones make connection hard, and slowly, your old life starts to fade like a dream you can't quite remember. You miss simple things. Your mom's cooking, your friends' laughter, the sound of your language in the street. Even the weather feels unfamiliar. The sun is brighter, the air is different, but the warmth you crave is gone. You meet new people, but friendships take time here. Australians are friendly, yes, but their kindness comes slowly. They protect their space, their privacy. So you keep smiling, working, surviving. You tell yourself this loneliness is temporary, and maybe it is. But deep down you know that once you leave your home country, you never truly belong anywhere again. Not completely. What people don't tell you about moving to Australia is that your new life will test you in ways your old one never did. You'll learn that success here isn't about luck. It's about endurance. The system rewards patience, but it also demands strength. You'll find yourself dealing with endless paperwork, expensive rent, and jobs that pay well but leave you drained. You'll question if you made the right choice more than once. You'll watch people post their perfect Australian lives online, beaches, coffees, sunsets, and wonder why yours doesn't feel the same. But behind every photo is a story like yours. Someone fighting to fit in, someone rebuilding from nothing. That's what no one shares. The quiet grind, the moments of doubt, the tears you hide because you don't want to sound ungrateful. Yet in all that struggle, something powerful happens. You change. You stop waiting for life to get easier and start making yourself tougher. You build resilience in silence. You stop comparing yourself to others and start measuring progress in small wins, like making your first real friend, paying your bills on time, or finally calling this new place home. That's what life in Australia does. It doesn't hand you comfort. It shapes you into someone who can stand on their own anywhere in the world. So, after everything, would you still move to Australia? That's a question only you can answer. If you want a life that challenges you, if you want to grow beyond what you thought you could handle, then yes, come. Australia isn't a dream, it's a test. It will push you, humble you, and sometimes break you, but it will also rebuild you stronger. You'll learn independence in ways you never imagined. You'll find beauty not just in beaches and cities, but in quiet moments, like your first barbecue with new friends, or watching the sunset alone and realizing you made it this far. That's the real Australia. Not perfect, not easy, but real. And maybe that's better than a dream. So tell me, if you had the chance, would you still pack up your life and move here? Or would you stay where comfort lives? Comment below and share your story. Your experience might be the reality check someone else needs before they take the leap. And if you love exploring the truth behind life in other countries, the stories behind the smiles, subscribe to Global Encounter. Every country looks perfect from the outside, but the real story always lives within the people who dared to move there.